What up, gear nerds? Fireball, Hook, and a Snack Box coming at you with another edition of GEARHAULICS, where the only thing hotter than Jared's Instagram account lately is going to be tonight's episode. These guys know about it. It's kind of like an Inception joke for you there, but everybody else who's listening right now is going to learn about it, and that is going to be the next topic here is going to be all about hot takes. And I'm going to give credit to Huck on this one because I'm definitely no stranger to the unpopular opinion or just kind of like speaking my mind as far as hot takes goes. But as soon as he kind of brought it up in the group chat, I'm like, yes.
You know, it's one of those ideas where you're just like, yes!
Let's do it. Let's dive right in. Let's get the disclaimer crap out of the way real quick as well here. This is obviously all of our own personal opinions, subjective opinions. What works for us may not work for you and vice versa. It could be items on this list here that will have bones to pick with the other co-stars. But let's just get it going here, guys. What do you say? And I'm going to kick it over to Huck first here because he brought one up in the chat. And I'm not sure if he knows which one I'm talking about. Hopefully, he brings this one up first. And I'm going to kick it over to him first. No pressure to kick us off right on the hot takes.
Well, my first one, I was thinking about a while today, and it's actually something I see way too much out there in backcountry camps. Pack out your freaking toilet paper. I'm sorry. If you get over like the little like ickies and stuff, get your toilet paper, put it in another little bag, double bag it if you have to, and take it out with you. Too many people like bury it, and then like you're going over there, all of a sudden you see like little party favors flapping up in the wind outside of camp, and it's just horrible. Just pack it out. It's not that bad. If people are going with their dogs and stuff, you're picking up your dog's poop, you can definitely just pick up your teepee and take it out with you. Yeah, sorry. I'm off my.
You can get you can get one of those like Mylar bags too to put it in.
Yeah,
they're smell proof. That's a good way to go. That's what
they're cheap on Amazon.
Yeah, get a whole mess of them, and then you don't have to worry about the smell spreading.
Yeah.
Pack it out for sure.
Yeah, I like that. I like that the hot take is to do something that you should be doing anyway, right?
Oh, I've got a friend, I won't mention names, but he will not take out any of his toilet paper at all. And he's like, he's too icky about it. The guy works in the medical field. It's like, dude, you see blood every day. Just take your TP with you.
That's
definitely pack it out. All right, SB, what do you got?
All right, so I was thinking I was trying to go with gear stuff, but I gotta go with the Grand Canyon is generally speaking super overrated. Yeah, this one is just a tough one. The memory that I have of it, I've been there a handful of times, and I think it's a great park. Don't get me wrong, but I mean the fact that it's in the top 4 of most visited is, I don't know, I just don't get it. But I mean it's impressive for the first 5 minutes. Don't get me wrong, but after that, it's just there's just not a whole lot. So we got on a shuttle bus and went around, and they took us to all these different lookouts, and the bus driver would pull up to a different lookout and say, "This is the lookout called the blah blah blah. It's a great spot to get a view of the canyon and the river." And then we'd pull up and go another mile, and he'd pull off to another stop and be like, "This is the different lookout. It's a great spot to get a view of the canyon and the river." And then pull around another mile and the same thing. Great spot for a view of the canyon and the river. And it's almost so big that you can't, unless you're going to go hiking in. That's my caveat too. If you're going to go, either spend 20 minutes there or spend like 3-4 days there hiking to the bottom and checking it out, because I'm sure that's a whole different experience. But relative to some of the other national parks out there that are just hidden gems, I'm thinking like Great Basin National Park. I love that one. Or Everglades, I think, is wildly underrated. I mean, wildly underrated. It's so cool. And so there are just a bunch of parks out there that are better suited for a longer visit for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna tack on to that one. I'm not gonna necessarily disagree with you on your take of it. I think I totally agree with the fact that there's not as much to see. I'm a big movie quote guy, so I don't know if you guys ever saw Stuck on You with like Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear, where he's just like, yeah, it's just a big hole in the ground kind of thing. And it's kind of true, you know, like what else is there really around? It's just kind of like barren everywhere else around it. But obviously, you know, the whole rim to rim or rim to rim to rim.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list. Don't get me wrong. Yeah,
oh, yeah, it's on mine too.
Yeah, I'd still 100% go spend some time there hiking to the bottom. But if I'm just
or do a river trip.
Yeah, river trip would be great. Yeah, but if you're just going to like car camp, I mean,
Yeah.
go spend some time in the Coconino or something just south of there. That's
Yeah.
would be a much better use of your time, I think. Or go north to Zion for a little bit. That's
Yeah.
also a much better use of your time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna round out this first round here. All of mine are basically just gear, so you got me thinking like I should probably think of other stuff here
Oh,
to
I
throw
got a
in
gear
here.
one.
All right, cool. My first one is going to be hyperlight packs. Sorry, I'm gonna have to throw that one in. There's a couple of these on here that I've already made full-blown videos on. Let me see if I can present my screen here and
We
get
should
that
have like
going.
a counter rolling of all of us losing subscribers based on.
I'm not afraid of that really at all at this
You're
point.
proving that one, yeah.
Basically, yeah, pretty much any other. I don't know. In my opinion, any other stuff except for like some of their accessories seem kind of cool. Like they have their pod system, which seems like it stacks pretty cool. But their stuff is just so outrageously expensive, and I haven't really heard anything great about their overall comfortability either. So I'm like, what kind of justifies the price that they're throwing out there? Especially it's not made here anymore in America
Did
either.
they ever get a
So
pack with load lifters on it yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
They've been more like dead set on just creating new stuff now, like the Unbound tents, stuff that's not like a TP style, and just kind of branching out to different varieties. But I haven't really seen any like improvements on their packs. Yeah, that's my first one.
Yeah, I think
Pretty much anything
if you're going on if you're doing a big through hike of the CDT and you've got everything absolutely as light as possible, then it makes a lot of sense. But if it's almost like it should be the very last thing that you upgrade, because if you have too much weight in those, it's wildly uncomfortable, right? And they've even that one company started making sort of aftermarket frames for frameless packs, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
That we're now at this
I
point
got
where
one.
like, yeah, we're at this point now where we've spent years getting away from like, we got away from external frame packs and moved to internal, and then we got away from frames at all. And now we've got people who are selling aftermarket frames to add. So effectively going all the way back to external frames. And everybody at Kelty is like, what in the hell are we doing here? We've been making external frames for 30 something years. And yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that one. I think, I mean, it would take a lot, and the comfort and the ability to carry even 5 more pounds much more comfortably is worth the 2-pound weight penalty you'll get with a good like Gregory bag or something. For sure is a much better route and similar price, right? So I think that's typically a much better choice for people.
Yeah, I just think the overall comfort for some of the other stuff, even if it's a little bit heavier, is definitely higher. Because I mean, these bags are somewhere right around the 2-pound mark anyway, so they're not, in my opinion, ultra light. They're definitely light, but they're not like in the ultra light category. That kind of like justifies that price. I know you guys don't really have anything from them either. So
No, I've looked at like their one for the cameras, the camera pod, but that's about it.
Yeah, those are popular. Yeah. All right, Huck, let's get going with round 2. What do you got for your next one?
I'm gonna keep the one that I think you're thinking of till a little bit later. So
Okay.
I've got my little list here. I think I know what it is. So, but so many people like are too worried about what other people have in the backpacking world. It's not a competitive sport, and I see it all the time, especially in like Facebook forums, stuff like that. Everybody's just so worried about who's got what, how fast they went, everything. It's all great. Like Snackbox is going to do a FKT hopefully soon of Joshua Tree. It's like sometimes you have to smell the roses out there. It's not about how fast you went up and down the mountain. You know, it's like there's a guy that by us does Baldy every single day. Sometimes we'll do Baldy twice a day. Like, great for him, but other people, you know, do what you want, hike your own hike, all that good stuff, and just don't compare yourself to other people out there. It's really just backpacking is not a competitive sport.
Yeah. I'm spot on, man. I've got a hiking buddy that when I met him, he had like a JanSport backpack, a hammock that he bought off of Amazon for $30, and then he had one of those like reusable grocery bags that was like tied to the back and swinging everywhere. And then he bought like a denim with one of those denim jackets with the like fleece liner in it. And he's finished the CT twice very successfully. And then I've seen plenty of people. I saw one guy who showed me his whole gear rig and kept prattling on and on about self-reliance while he had a $5,000 gear setup when you broke down everything that he had. And he's like, you got to be self-reliant. I'm like, man, you didn't even, if you were being self-reliant, you'd be making your own gear. You didn't do any of that. You went out and spent $5,000 to buy a super light pack. You had your wife drop you off at the trailhead. None of this is self-reliance. This is you just patting yourself on the back. So yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those where once you start getting to the point where you start thinking that you need to hike a certain way and everybody else fall in line, that's just silly. Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, it's hard in a couple of different ways. You know, there's certain things in life where you're like, well, this really works for me, so I just want to go out and tell everybody about it. And we're a little bit of a hypocrite here on YouTube because we're giving our opinions on different things, but you really have to try to refrain from that. In particular, when you're going out with other people, right? You have other people like in your party, if you're going out on a trip. Just refrain from like, hey, you should do this, or you have to, this is better because of X, Y, and Z. It's whatever works for somebody else might not work for you. That's fine. Who cares? Doesn't really matter.
It's tough because you have you get real excited about stuff, right? So, but there's such a fine line between like showing off something that you're really excited about and then people perceiving it as sort of flexing, right? And so it's one of those where I don't have the right answer. I think typically if the conversation is about tents, then great. But if you're the one who's like bringing up and showing off all your stuff, it's probably time to, I don't know.
Do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good segue. What do you got for round 2 there, Jared?
This one's tough, but I don't think Italian people belong in the woods. I'm just
Get out. I'm just gonna remove him, man. No longer on the show.
Yeah, I think my mine is really just any of the prepackaged meals that you get. Typically speaking, they're great for an overnighter, but if you're doing a longer trip, you should probably find some cheap Nor sides or something. So I love a lot of the different stuff, and I want to be careful here because I'm hopefully going to be working with one of these companies soon. But yeah, just being cautious about how you're using those and sort of the cost efficiency. So there's one company that's like $13 for some really small portions, and $13 will go a long way with ramen and mashed potatoes, oatmeal, a lot of stuff. And really for me, it's always about cost, right? So that's my beef with the Hyperlight too, that if you bought a cheaper backpack, you could buy a plane ticket and a backpack and still be in good shape. Right. Huck and I are both like big Six Moon Designs guys, and you also think about I'm going back to the backpacks, but you think about the weight difference and what you're paying for to not carry, and it's very insignificant. So I think it's probably that. And I've got another one, but I'll save it for the end here.
Yeah, it's a good one, especially with they're always trending up. Like everything else seems like in backpacking, meals just keep going up. Huck and I both like Next Mile meals, and like what are they up to? Like $16-17.
That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. They're delicious. They're like crazy. High protein and low carb, but they are so expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous.
I'm over their breakfast now. Their breakfasts are just
yeah.
I need to add hot sauce, salt, and pepper, and everything else to make it taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like there's another one that I have yet to try, which is the Right On Trek stuff, but you have to like cook it in your pot. So they are a little bit cheaper, but you still have to do a little bit more with them, so they're not as convenient.
Yeah.
But the price point is a little bit more palatable there. But yeah, totally understand. And like you said too, like depends on how long you're going out. If you're going out more than just like a couple of days, it gets kind of gross to just eat that.
I think that's really the key here is the amount of time. So it's not that the item itself I have a problem with. I've eaten a lot of all of them. It's just that I see a lot of times people spending way too much money on meals when if you go to the grocery store and hit that side aisle, you're in a lot better shape here.
Yeah.
Totally. And that is a good series. I know you have some videos on that, but that's a great series. And for Huck too, because I know he mixes it up a little bit more. I'm probably last on the totem pole on that one. Because
Huck's going out with like gourmet meals and stuff. They've got the whole
Check out his latest
I
video. He's got like sausages and peppers and
oh yeah.
all sorts of good stuff.
He's yelling "Bam" like he's Emerald and stuff.
That's gonna happen next time.
Doing the salt like that. There you go. All right. Rounding out the second round here. Let's see, which one am I going to go with next? I have a few of them here. I'm not sure if we're going to get to all of them. I'm going to go with this one next. I'm going to say basically all of Nightcore's product. Nothing against them at all. They're great. They are proven. They are trail worthy, right? And I'm trying to pull up my screen, but I can't talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Yeah, Huck's got his.
I just want to throw it across.
Within reach, dude. He's got it within reach. That's insane. Let me share the screen real quick just to show you around here on their website. Ton of offerings, definitely proven out there. They're bad. To me, it's really just like a price point thing, and more so than anything else. So let me see if I can pull up. Is it under the freeze? No, it's probably under their battery banks, right? Battery chargers. So then what's that one called, Huck? The 10,000?
NU 10,000 or MB 10,000.
NB 10,000. I can't even find it on. Obviously, they're most popular probably for their NU 25 headlamp.
They're great.
Super ultra light. And I know Huck's got the other version of that as well, or the newer version of that.
Yeah,
but for me, it's I don't know. It's just they're just too expensive for what they are. I mean, like especially with like headlamps and battery banks, they're like a dime a dozen. You can find them everywhere. So it really just comes down to, in my opinion, the I don't know, reliability more so than anything else. And I've heard some dodgy things about their battery bank, so maybe Huck can debate me on that one a little bit. But in particular with their headlamp, I'm actually looking at something else, which I'm going to hold off on for right now. It's not a headlamp. But yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of other options out there that are a lot cheaper and really don't weigh that much more, if at all. Sun Blessa is coming out now, which is only like an ounce and a half for their headlamp. So I don't know. I'll leave it up to Huck to trash me on that one. It's really just a price point thing for me. Like I just never was able to find it at a good deal, so haven't jumped on any of their.
For headlamps, for years I used like an Energizer one from Walmart. Headlamps are headlamps. It's nice. It's much lighter weight, rechargeable battery in there, but headlamps are headlamps. But when it comes to the charger, yeah, the power bank, I love this thing. Lightweight, super compact. Haven't had any problems yet. I use an Anchor and a RAV as well, but it's working great. I mean, it saved weight from my Anchor and my RAV.
How great would it be if it spontaneously combusted during the recording, where there's just like smoke and fire pouring up?
I get all the points for that one. Yeah, what's the weight on the 10,000? Is like 5.4 ounces, something like that, with the carbon fiber sides?
I could tell you.
Oh maybe. Man, he's got the kitchen scale there too. Man, he's
my mic's sitting on it right now, so I can't tell. I can't read it. I had to move my mic, so that's not gonna happen. But
I think it's somewhere.
Let's see here. MB 10,000 weight. 5.29 ounces.
Yeah. So I mean, they still have the edge there by almost like 3/4 of an ounce.
150 grams.
3/4 of an ounce?
No, 150 grams.
You will roll your ankle carrying that heavier one.
I know. But I mean, is it worth like the almost, I don't know, $40 to $50 more MSRP for it? Like I know Huck got it on a deal. He's not paying full price for pretty much anything, but I don't know. I found some that are right around like the 6 ounce mark that are like $14-15. So I don't know. So that's mine.
If you're gonna get one though, get a name brand. Anchor, RAV, those are all great. I've had the cheap ones. Cheap ones last for a little bit and all of a sudden stop working. So,
right.
That one's been around for a while.
All right, sounds good for round 2. Huck, kick us off for round 3. What do you got for the next one?
Okay, Durson tints are overrated.
Yes, there it is. We're waiting on that.
I just don't get it. Sorry, I know it's a cult, or sorry, it's not a cult, whatever they say on their little Facebook group. And I like Dan.
Yeah, they totally is.
Dan's a great guy, but there's other tints that have sort of had the same style before. Was it the Sierra Designs had one? Tarp Tints got another. The Stratosphere, I think it is. But those were all out before. The only thing that different was inside got switched up a little bit now. That's it.
Yeah, if you haven't
I know
seen,
yeah,
go ahead.
they're also hard. You need flat ground, like any
Right.
little pitch or anything. Like maybe the ground's a little bit off center or something. Yeah, if you have trouble setting them
Yeah,
up.
and you need a ton of space with them as well. I
Mhm.
mean, you saw Melissa had one on the TCT. She had the
Yeah,
2P, and that was even more massive. If you haven't caught Bryce Newbold's latest video, or one of his latest, I don't know when this one's going to be dropping on my channel, but he just did one of an honest review that was an unpopular opinion. I'm like, dude, get ready for the negative blowback because, like Snackbox says, there definitely is a cult following for that when people are
yeah.
and they will fight you to the death on that one. But I'm in that same camp. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. But yeah, nothing against Dan and his
Yeah.
stuff or his rep
And
at all. Not at all.
and people that have them seem to be happy with them, but yeah,
Yeah,
I just think it's an overrated piece of gear.
same here. I kind of lump him into hyper lights a little bit there too. I mean, he's got similar price points. It's not like it's anything that he's charging above and beyond or anything. It's competitive for like the DCF stuff or even
Yeah.
the poly version. He's got a poly version, which is a lot cheaper. So, but yeah, I mean, I think he did take some of that inspiration, and I think it's called the Stratus Fire or something like that from Tarp
I
10,
think it is
where it was off.
Yeah. There was a really similar one from Sierra Designs.
Yeah, that was the original, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was maybe who's that ultra runner? It was named after an ultra runner for a while. It was the guy out of Boulder. Gosh, it'll come to me.
Oh, the high route. It's the high route.
Yeah, it was named after the high route, and it's the guy who did the high route. He had his name on it for a while. I forget what his name is. Gosh, he's got a video, like an old video of him doing the high route with this. I mean, he did the high route in like 8 days, I want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, just incredible. And they had it like it was his edition for a little while.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I just
they
pulled
did,
it up.
it just the inners switched a little bit and it's offset now, and supposedly
it's very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar. Oh, and it is a dual wall too.
Skirka.
Okay.
I think they. I think they had a Skirka. Like I think they had a Skirka edition. I could be completely off on that, but it was like that. And
could be.
Sierra Designs. I mean, that's a company. This not a hot take in a negative sense, but that's a company like Sea to Summit, and they are willing to take some chances and make some tents or some gear that's a little bit wonky, a little bit crazy, but sometimes it hits and sometimes it's really good, and I appreciate that. And actually, going back a little while, we kind of have them to thank for the DCF trend, because they did you'll have to look this one up, Fireball. The UFO Mojo tent was an $1,800 tent. That was the first like mainstream DCF tent, and it was wild. I mean, it was a freestanding tent with like an exoskeleton something, but it was a solid $1,800. And I mean, it was very first when nobody had even heard of DCF, and it's a pretty wild number. But that Sierra Designs, man, I really love looking at what they're doing, because every once in a while they hit something. Maybe they find new material or a new layout or something, and they take a couple of risks, and next thing you know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, this Darwin just released a video too on like a mountaineering tent that was like $2,000 and sort of like similar to this.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's something, man. I mean, and that was, if we didn't have them come out, we'd never have DCF stuff. And I've never actually owned anything DCF, but I appreciate that it's really shifted quite a bit of the way that we think about tents. I don't think we'd have as many of the trekking pole tents without DCF,
Yeah, that's crazy. Do any of you guys know when that Sierra Designs model came out? Because that looks like he straight up copied it. No, the one that Snackbox just mentioned, the one that I just pulled up.
Yeah, I think that one came out at about 2012-ish. It was when I was in grad school, so it wasn't terribly long ago, but it was certainly.
Yeah, it's like 12 years.
Yeah.
Decent enough time ago. Yeah, it's another thing too that people have to like make sure they understand. Like it's not always necessarily a novel idea or like something that's completely brand new. I thought with the tarp tent and that stuff, it was sort of like derivative of that, but it looks like a spitting image of this tent here. It's insane. Like
Yeah.
it looks like a straight up copy of the tent. It's crazy.
I mean, it actually could be the same plan. Actually, that's pretty common with like when a company stops using them, you can buy the plan as another company. So that's what my trail company did with Go Light gear. They were like
they bought
the new iteration, or they bought all the designs. That sort of thing. I don't know the story on it. Probably somebody's going to correct it here because the chat's going to light up with people who are very unhappy with all of us.
Oh, of course, the diehard X-Men fan. I know. Even the people who are like in the space still have them who are probably going to be watching this one on replays for sure.
Yeah, I would love us to do a whole episode where we just as a deal decide to put in a lot of bad information intentionally and just watch it go wild.
I was thinking of another one that's sort of like similar to this
live
one.
Stream.
Oh yeah.
I know, right?
You have to tell it. You have to be real deadpan about it, and just you have to make it look like you really believe whatever it is you're saying, and that would work really nicely. So this one here is, I think Nalgene's are a lot better than water bladders, and it's sort of twofold. People hate on Nalgene's. They say they're too heavy. They're like 4 ounces. And then they love the water bladder. But I got to tell you, you can pour a Nalgene all over your gear just like a water bladder would leak all over it. So you can get the same benefits. And then also with the Nalgene, you can boil the water and put it in and have like warm up your tent. But I saw somebody, I mean, Nalgene's are sort of the whipping boy of quite a bit of ultralighters, whatever. And they often go after it first. Like this is some place where you can cut weight. And that's absolutely true. But I think often people use that as, I mean, they overvalue how important it is. So I saw a woman once who was carrying a 4-person car camping tent with a tarp to go under it. And she was having just a horrible time. And I offered, we were going to the same place. So I was like, here, why don't you take my water and you can drink it because there's none where you are. You just give me the water bottle back when we get to camp. And she said, no, I can't afford the weight of a Nalgene bottle. And I'm like, what are we doing here, lady? You can't afford not to have the weight of a Nalgene bottle. And then water bladders. I mean, every single time I go hiking with somebody with a water bladder, we have that thing about a quarter mile in when we have to stop and have them do the garage sale and fix the leak because it always leaks all over everything they have. And then we sit there while they take out all the stuff that just got soaked and then they're like, but I'm so much more hydrated. It's like, yeah, so are your clothes and your sleeping bag and everything else you're carrying. And I love Nalgene's, hate water bladders. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and there's no way with a water bladder to know really like how much you have left in it too. That's another big peeve of mine. It's like always obsessively check like how much do I have left? Particularly out here, where we got drier sections in SoCal with me and Huck. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, they also have their UL version of one now, which is really just like the weight of a smart water bottle. It's like 3-point-something ounces, but you can still put boiling water in them. So, and they're a lot more durable, I think, and less wasteful too, right? Like I'm a little bit conscious of that every time I'm using the smart water bottles, where I'm like, oh man, I feel like I got to reuse this or clean it out, and the Nalgene's is just easier. What they do need to make though, and if Nalgene's listening, which of course they are to this podcast here, you need to make something. Oh, of course. They need to make something similar to the smart water bottle, but maybe like screws off like midway, so you can still throw it into your dishwasher to clean it, right? But is a little bit more elongated and still shaving a little bit of weight off of that. I'd buy that in a second. I tried that like Canuck version. They have their own collapsible one. That thing stinks, man. That's not my take. That's just a little bonus there for you. Try one of those. Those are horrible.
We are just blasting through potential sponsors here. Just 100%. This is. I think you should really think about this before you post it, because this is going to be bad for your long-term financial health. I mean, Canucks people love that company, and I
love their bag.
Yeah, the Vecto is awesome.
Yeah.
One thing, like, if maybe Nalgene would do, if they can make something sort of square, like a giant flask, it would just fit in better to the side of your pack instead of these round bottles. It actually fit in well. But I actually hiked with somebody that used to use canola oil bottles.
Oh,
yeah. Don't know how he got all the oil out. Probably tasted a little weird, but yeah. He had a good idea going where it was squared up a little bit and it fit inside of his packs a lot better.
It's a complete, not complete non sequitur, but just ADHD brain. But canola oil is an interesting one if you know what it's made out of. It's like the probably the most conspicuous rebrand we've ever had in the history of the world. Because if they named it after the seed it comes from, we'd have a hard day. Yeah.
All right.
Everybody can Google that at home, right?
There you go. The more you know from Snack Box. Let's put that graphic on the screen. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's see where we're at. About a half hour right now. I'm gonna say let's just do one more round here. I'm gonna do a little bit of a rapid fire because I have a few extra ones, and I was thinking about, we were just talking about this too, where we're not sure about the overall topics and what we're talking about on this one, but there's another one that I was thinking of too, like sort of in the same vein of this one, where I was thinking, well, what if we made one that's based off of gear that we knew we were right about, that were kind of flops? I don't think that one would really work out too well either. You have people just roasting you on that one. But from my rapid fire here, before getting into my last big one, first one I'm going to put up here is going to be buffs. I've tried them out. Definitely multi-use, multi-purpose for a lot of different reasons. It just hasn't really worked out for me. Next one I'm going to say Grail filters, and this kind of goes along with the stuff that I was kind of right about, but it never really took because they're just way too clunky and too heavy. They're great for travel, I'd say, to other countries, but not necessarily for backpacking. And then
they sure made their rounds for a while on a lot of YouTube videos. All of a sudden,
they did.
Everybody had a Grail. It's like,
And the titanium one just came out too, saved you a little bit there, but still not the best. And then the last one here I have on screen is the Deuce of Spades. I fell victim to this one. This is the only one that I've actually fell victim to that I'm not a fan of. And I don't know. It's super ultralight, but not easy to get into that hard soil. They have, and this is from Everyday Backpacker. He got something off of Garage Grown Gear called the Jericho Gear Driver, sort of going along with the Vaucluse backpack, you know, the external frame where it's like,
Jericho Gear Driver.
Yeah, it's this. It's
that
this
sounds
like printed plastic piece.
I mean,
you can use honestly,
it for. Go ahead.
You can use it for like your tent stakes or your trowel.
That, I mean, it honestly sounds like either a WWE move or something you do like in the bedroom.
Walls of Jericho.
Old Jericho rail driver here. We got the.
Yeah, it's just
there goes the families.
Like, yeah.
Just, you know, I don't know. Like I've switched over and gotten something that's a little bit more robust. So that's it for my rapid fire. My last big one here that I'm going to talk about, you all know it. It's been on my channel before. Here it is, the FlexTail Zero Pump, of course. Let me show my screen again just to show you their website. But I don't get it, guys. Like I really don't get it. They're trying to branch out. They had their other like either Tiny Pump or whatever before, Tiny Pump 2, and now they're coming out with this one. False advertising on the 1.2 ounce before the battery. I did a whole video on it. They have their own I don't know, insect bug repellent thing now. They're trying to branch out to different things. They have their own pillow here. Like here's their pillow if it's gonna load. That's just the add-on. Sorry, that's sort of like what we were talking about before, Snack Box, where it's like, hey, buy the top shelf from Gossamer Gear, but add on the 1 or the 2 if you want it, something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
You're gonna bring that up.
Yeah, a few different options here. I don't know. I commend them for branching out and like doing different things, but I don't know.
I'll tell you that bug repellent one sucks. They were nice enough to send me one, but it never really worked.
You're supposed to swing it real fast and catch them.
But this works. I love the little pumps. So
you got the pump.
I did go and get one. I did get this one. Just came in the mail after waiting from a month from overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, Melissa had a long time getting that too from man, why am I blanking? Unlikely Hiker, her channel. She said she had to wait like a really long time for hers.
Yeah.
And that was from the Kickstarter campaign. I mean, like on their site here, I don't know if you guys caught it, but like the MSRP is now like $53. I think when they were launching, it was like 35 or $40.
I didn't get a deal on this one.
Oh man. See, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, and to spend extra money when like your pump sack is probably going to weigh just about the same and probably take you just
I
about the
hate those
same
things.
amount of time to pump up your pad. I just use your pump sack. Comes with a pad.
Oh, I hate those things so much. I hate pump
That's
sack.
my last one. Huck, you got another one in the barrel for you?
Oh, I have a few. Let's just take
Oh yeah.
one more.
You got any rapid fire? Just dump them out.
No. Okay. Stop taking too many clothes. Too many people go out. Like my first trip, I made the problem of taking out too many clothes. You're going out for 2-3 days. You don't need like 3 pairs of shirts, a couple pairs of pants. Just bring an extra pair of underwear and a couple pairs of socks. That's it.
Yep.
All these people are so worried about looking good out there and making sure they don't smell. Nobody cares. So stop taking too many clothes.
Yep.
I care whenever I'm following Snack Box on trail, man. Dude stinks it up.
I tell you, I did hike with
20
somebody
yards
once.
behind.
Yeah, I hiked with somebody once who thought that Axe body spray was the same as deodorant and smelled like armpit pineapples the whole.
Oh,
It was rough. Like I'd rather just smell like BO and then yeah. I think you're right though, Huck. I hiked with a dude once who we told him no jeans, like no cotton, blah blah blah, and then it was like a 5-day hike and he took 3 different pairs of jeans and he threw up from heat exhaustion within 15 minutes and that was the easier part of the trip. Yeah, but it's all about like too many clothes is really not great. And I mean, I'm sort of notorious for taking a fresh pair of socks for every day, but that's the extent of it, and that's more just to make sure I don't get blisters. But I smell like hot garbage on a cold Sunday morning when I'm hiking.
I don't know. For me, I don't know. I might debate you a little bit. Like I do like for shorter trips, especially if it's not that many miles, I will take a little bit extra just because I don't know. I consider it more of like a luxury trip.
You mean
right?
like maybe like a May hike in the Smokies? You might take a pair of down pants, something like that.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's perfect when the temp drops. But yeah, I don't know. Like definitely for the longer ones. I don't know. I mean, like for the TCT, I brought like the Hobo Basin and just because you have more of like the water sources readily available for you. So I just took like a Sea to Summit, and just bring minimal clothing. You still have the option to wash it. Just put some Dr. Bronner's in there or something. And that's super light. Doesn't really cost you anything. Yeah, I mean, clothes definitely stacks up on the weight.
On week-long trips, we're using our bear cans if we're bringing them and just using that as like the little wash basin and wash the socks in there, let them dry out by camp, wash your dirty pair of underwear. Shirt, maybe wash it off, but yeah, pants are hard to do out there. You only got one.
Oh, here's another one. I'm gonna throw it in real quick. What do you think about all the alpaca stuff that everybody's talking about? Because I think like they're trying to go into this vein of like, well, it doesn't stink, so you don't really need to bring that many clothes. It doesn't hang on to any of the germs or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but it also weighs like 2-3 times any of the other polyester stuff, and it's like I can bring 2 shirts that still weighs less than that one shirt. For the alpaca.
I've seen some lighter knits of it that have been good, but I think generally speaking, I mean it's also just really pricey. I will say though, you get one of those as a blanket to have on your couch.
And I do have an alpaca liner. That's a nice little luxury.
Yep.
Especially in the colder weather, paired with a quilt, man, it's luxury in there.
Yeah.
All right, Snack Box, you got another one for us to round us out here?
Yeah, so this one is that every single pair of overpriced synthetic underwear that you could buy at an outdoor shop is nowhere near as effective as a pair of Fruit of the Loom synthetic boxer briefs. That it is the biggest it's the biggest scam out there that most people are already wearing these, like, not most, but like if you're wearing boxer briefs, you're already wearing synthetic underwear, and then you buy them for, I don't know, 5 pairs for $20. And then somehow when you're going hiking, you're like, oh, I got to get this $45 pair of ex officio underwear and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make any sense. It legitimately is like, I mean, it's like when you buy, going back to the backpacking meals, if you go and buy backpacking mac and cheese for like $12 a bag and pass up a box of Kraft mac and cheese because somehow you think that bag makes a difference or the buying it at REI for the underwear makes a difference. I can't even help you, you know, like, I mean, I think, but this is kind of what everybody finds out after some time, right? Like you think about that smart water bottle instead of an Nalgene, which I think is a smart move, right? Generally speaking, that the more you go backpacking, the more you learn that some of the things that you spend a lot of money on can be replaced really inexpensively with something that you find at a gas station or Target, whatever, right?
Hey man, I love my ex officios.
Me
That being
too.
said, I'm
That's 2
sad
to 1.
that the stitching is not great on them. But here, I'm gonna debate you a little bit on this one. Probably go like switch a little bit over to something like Darn Tough. If they have a really good policy where you can just swap them out over a period of time, and they definitely pay for themselves just by using that, you know, recycle and reuse.
So I'm not.
policy.
Yeah, so I'm not talking about socks though. That's the one thing that
Right.
that's where it probably sounds crazy is like I think actually $20 for a pair of socks that will prevent blisters and last a long time, 100% worth it. That they're typically very different than what you're going to find on the sock aisle at a Target. So the socks, Darn Tough, I really love, like the Smart Wool, Believer. There's a Balega, that company. Those socks are stellar. They're really, really good. I'll wear them 100 miles. Yeah.
I have had some synthetic underwear. Who was it? Under Armour. I made the mistake of getting their heat wear, not realizing it was the heat one. So I went on a summer hike with this material that was made to keep you warm. Let's just say there was lots of chafing and sweating involved. That was just not enough Gold Bond could help.
Yeah, I accidentally picked up a ex officio man thong, and the ball satchel was just way too aggressive. Yeah.
I don't know. I might have to cut that one. I don't know if I can leave that one.
Across the line with ball satchel, huh? That's the line. I could say that Italian people don't belong in the woods, and that's not the line.
Not the line.
I say ball satchel, and suddenly,
yep,
hammock would have been better.
Yeah, banana hammock.
Banana hammock. Yep, banana pound. All right, I think that's a good spot to cut that one, guys. I think we've gone on long enough without getting completely thrown off of YouTube here. Let's throw some social love out on screen for Huck. Check him out on YouTube. He's Huck Outdoors. On Instagram, he posts a lot there as well. He's Huck_outdoors. Jared hasn't been posting a lot on his main channels, but he has been coming back, I think, a little bit lately. Yeah. He's over there at Outside Comfort Zone, and on Instagram, he posts daily now at Backcountry Champion. Definitely have to check him out over there. All right, I think that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for sinking the boat with me, and we'll catch everybody on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Take care.